Re-recording? Looks like we're recording. Welcome, YouTube. My name's Jamie. I'm back at my pets again. It's a beautiful day. Again with the Ombar video system. I've installed my third camera, and I've got it set up there. I haven't even actually looked at any footage yet to see like exactly how it's fitting in the frame. But the quick little peek that I took at the monitor when I set it up, it was good. There's one thing about well, it's not the camera's fault by any means. It's not the camera's fault. It's not the car's fault. It's just the way the car is made, right? Because this has got a top that comes off, you know. As far as like hiding wires and things like that, it's not just as easy as, you know, mount your camera up high, you know, just, you know, hide your wires underneath, you know, somewhere up top, you know, and have them go down or whatever. You know, you got a lot of plastic to put them under, you know, to get them going around your dash and stuff. So I just have my cameras running, because the camera is basically almost in the middle of my window. It doesn't bother me because it's off to the side, right? And I've got full field of view. But I have, you know, about 10 inches of wire that's, you know, going down into the front by my heater there, by the fan, and then they just run off the side of the window. And that's about it. I keep on getting these phone calls all the time, you know. You've won, you know, $500,000 cash and Mercedes of your choice, or the color, blah, blah, blah. You know, and I talk to these guys and say, look, I tell you what, you say I want $500,000. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm in a giving mood today. You take, I just want, send me $25,000. You can keep 400 and whatever. What did I say, 25,000? You can keep 475,000, and you can have the car sent to yourself. You know, and they say, well, it doesn't work that way. I say, of course it doesn't work that way. These guys, you know, it's, what is with, you know, every time your phone rings, it's a fucking scam. You know what I mean? Somebody wants to scam you. You know, all this stock market horse shit that goes on, you know, with this crap, you know, earn, you know, $20 million a month, you know what I mean, from your phone while you sleep and all that garbage. What's all that horse shit, you know, and everybody calls you on that kind of stuff. I just don't get it. How they get your telephone number? I guess you just never answer your phone. Yeah, I guess that's how they get it. Anyway, enough for the rant. I got my Ombar system going, and I got the third camera going. I'm gonna just kind of see if I can sort of see how it's looking there. Well, that's looking, you know. It could be set maybe a little bit high, but I got a fin on the back of my car, right? So it's a little bit different. It's not kind of like the not having one. Is that what I'm trying to say? So, but and I've got it pretty much at the top of the window. But it's, you know, it's a fairly good slope, you know, with the C4s and you know, looking at the video and stuff when I look back from the stuff I did on my first upload with this system. You certainly like the lens. Like I said to my wife, I said, honey, we'll go, you know, we could talk about the Corvette and stuff. And she says, well, we could do that, but I don't like being on camera. I said, well, honey, I said, the camera's facing me. And she says, well, I sort of remember when we were kind of sitting in your car and you were showing it to me, I remember seeing me in the face, or seeing you, or seeing her. And I said, oh, I don't think so. And so, of course, we look back and yeah, there she is, missing, my sweetheart. A lot of motorbikes are out today. They're just everywhere you look is just motorbikes, crazy. So And it was about, yeah, it was about 15 degrees.
We like your car.
Do you?
We like it.
Listen, I'll trade you right across.
Yeah, but it's fine.
You can't put your family in here, though.
I know.
Only 2 seats.
You enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you've got a nice family, so I don't know which one you would pick.
Sure.
How about we switch and then I'll take whoever you leave behind. I'll take him. He looks like a nice guy.
Okay.
You put him to work, you know, cut the grass.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, yeah, nice people. Yep, saying they like the car. You get that a lot from that. So it's, you know, people in that, you know, like you're not going to see anybody, you know, doing that, saying that to somebody in a Honda Accord. I guarantee you that. You know what I mean? Let's face it, the vet gets it wet. Okay, well, we're going to turn the headlights up and get those in the picture. And then maybe sometime during this video we can disconnect, maybe towards the, I don't know, I have no idea. I love watching the videos. I get out, you know, because I like getting the sort of like the color of the dusk when the, you know, just when the sun is about to set. We got a lot of overcast in Saskatchewan here today, so it's yeah, it's kind of like that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just make a quick turn right here. Do that. Take a little ride to the park here. See what folks got to say. There was a time back in the 80s and the 70s. This is the Parliament building here in Regina, or the capital. And you know, back in the 70s, this is where all the muscle cars, you know, just hung out. And, you know, guys just, you know, hung out there, you know, backed their cars and out, you know, sat on their hoods and, you know, had their broads under their arm and, you know, just, just the way it was back then, you know. Yeah. All the guys on the bikes, you know, driving around on the bikes. Yep. That's what we're doing. We're driving around on the motorbikes. Wow, look at the snow. Or the ice. Can you see that? Look at that. All ice and all the birds. I'll have to come around that way again. It's really, really pretty. So just maybe I'll pull off to the side here for a second. I'm going to let this guy go. And I'm going to try to see if I can actually turn around here because I don't want to go that way. I don't know why there's water running everywhere. I don't drive my car through the water, so. And since we got a little bit of water, I don't do that. Okay. A lot of geese walking around. Yeah, look at all the geese walking on the water. That is something else. That's really something else. It's pretty. Pretty. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, well, I think I'll just leave it in 1080p for this one. We'll wait until the trees are all beautiful and, you know, everything's green and green grass. You know, lots of people walking around before I come in and do a, you know, just a nice little drive-through. Wascana. I just don't get why we got all this water running here. I never dreamt that we'd have this kind of water here. Anyway, where is it actually coming from? I thought we were past that. You know? Wow, I can't believe the water. Or the ice that's up there. Something else. Anyway, it's far away from talking about what we're normally talking about when we're talking about Corvette videos. My target top, and everybody that has, well, I think all of that's tops comes off. I don't know much about, you know, C6s and C7s and C8s and all that kind of stuff, but I'm sure they do to some degree. Tops have to come off, I'm sure. But I know on like the C4s and C5s, well, I shouldn't say the C5s. I know this, strictly talking C4s now, is that I noticed at the top gets a little, after you've been driving it for a while, like not a while, like it could be a day or a couple of days, depends on the roads and things. Your roof will get a little bit loose, and I noticed that on the video that I was making yesterday, that my car top, or I was getting some extra rattle, and one of my bolts was getting a little bit loose. I tightened them down because I've just done my halo stripping yesterday, and I had a whole hell of a story to talk about there as far as, you know, what I had to do to get the damn top on. My God, if you do your halo strip, and that includes like the sides, it goes around the top. Get your damn top on. Make sure your car is on a completely flat surface. Get your top on and tighten the shit down, and just let it sit for a couple of days. Today would have been a beautiful day to have the top off, and just to go riding, you know, because it was like 15 or 16 degrees here, which was beautiful. Actually, just beautiful. Switch that view there. And, yeah. But I drive, when I'm making a video like this, I drive with the windows up because I like to have the, you know, not any wind noise coming in the car. I gotta laugh, some of these young guys, you know, they drive beside you, have these young punks, right, 16, 17 years old, you know, kind of look at your car, you know, they're kind of driving some kind of whatever, and they got a buddy beside them, and it's, you know, they're kind of looking at, they got that look in their eyes, they like, okay, let's snap it out, and say, okay, like, I'm not gonna get a ticket. Another video I was making, doing a review of the Ombar video system, coming off, you know, yielding her onto a, you know, one of our, it's not really a highway, but it's, you know, you drive like 100 kilometers on it or 110 kilometers on it. And you come around the corner, you stop, and you got an asshole driving behind you in a truck. You know what I mean? You're going around, you know, a turner, a corner, you know, a long turn before you get straight onto the road. These guys drive on your ass, you know what I mean? So give him a little bit of the C4 LT1, and that sure puts him in his place pretty fucking quick. I can say that. If I can say that longitude. Yeah. And it makes a difference when you have an extra rattle in the car. When you got a rattle in the car, you really don't notice it because you're driving, you're paying attention, you know, you're looking at all the things around. Saying, yeah, this is kind of cool, I like this, and then you, I don't know, yep, summer's coming, that's for sure. And, yeah, so, yeah, I got all my wires, they're kind of like, yeah. I don't know. I notice a lot of these people driving with their bright lights on are not Canadians. So I think it's just like they don't know or care. You know, there's too much shit built in these cars. On the new cars, where you'll have one dial like your signal light, that's got 780 options, right? It does cruise, tilt. It probably controls your DVD system or iPad or whatever else the shit you got hooked up into your car, right? So it's kind of funny in that regard. But I love driving around the Corvette. It's just such an awesome car. You know what I love the car so much. And I'm a master at getting in and out of this car. The only problem with me is that I've got a very sore, like a back issue and a leg issue that, I got a back issue that I've had for many, many years, but I've got a leg issue that, started since January. It was just third day of January, actually. And it just had to do with really nothing at all. Just standing there, and I just leaned over to grab a pillow, and momentary loss of muscular coordination. What can I say? Yep, a lot of nice smiles from a lot of people. A lot of people that like the car. Like, a lot of like family people, you know what I mean? The younger kids, they're kind of always looking around. They always just want to race. That's all they want to do. And that certain kind of kid, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of them, like I know that my grandkids won't be like that, but a lot of these guys, their stereos pumping and they got their subs going and all that shit. And I understand that's what they like, that's what they do, and they should do it. That's their life. Enjoy it. We're only here once. Do what you do. All I ask is that you be responsible. That's all. And sure, yeah, it's fun to have a little bit of fun. You know what I mean? But you also got to think of safety first, especially nowadays. Like we don't want to be caught, drinking water out of a hose or anything like that. Like, we could all die from that, right? Oh, I tell you how times have changed. The times have really, really changed. What do you do? Nothing. You go with it. You go with it. That's what you go with. Not according to the times. Well, the times are what they are. You know what I mean? What are the times going to be? What's it going to be like in 30 years from now? Okay, for anybody that's 50 years old right now. Put yourself at 80. Okay, I'm 63. So I'll be 93. Like I'm not going to live to 93. I know that. I'll be lucky if I live at 80. Smoker all my life, and but like I said in one of my other videos, nobody likes a quitter. Right? Maybe, I don't know, I'm just kind of slapping at the lips a little. When I drive and make these videos, I always kind of talk because it's fun to talk. Talk about the different things, different cars that I see and stuff. But the vet is just, there's I don't know. There's nothing like it. If I was going to buy another sports car, I'd probably buy another Vet. If I was rich, I would love to have a new Vet. I see these Chargers, driving around, and some of these new Camaros and stuff like that. And I'm not sure what they're packing. Sure, they all got some horsepower. What is an LT1? What's it? 350 or 365 foot-pounds of torque, something like that? I don't know. Plus, it's only like a 3,200 pound car, right? So there's like virtually no weight to this car. So when you put that towards another car, that weight makes a difference. yeah, I'd probably like to get a new vet. You know, if I had the opportunity to buy a new car, if I won a lottery or something like that, I'd probably buy a new vet or something like that. Yeah, but anyway, C4 is nice because you know it's a American classic sports car. You know, they're very recognizable. When people see it, immediately they know what it is, right? It's not like this. What is that? Is that, you know, is that some kind of a, you know, overseas kind of thing, right? You want to know if it's a, you recognize it. You see a vet? That's it. You stay clear. Whatever, you know. I did a little work on my rims and stuff today. That's the thing about when you have metal rims rather than chrome rims. I got rid of my chrome rims because I just I don't know. Nice rims, but they didn't look like my Kragers when I was younger. I really liked the more stubbier kind of spoke right on the Krager rim. So when I got these rims, I was glad to get them, even though I ended up with two front right rims. But so it looks like that side is like on backwards, but nobody, I don't think, would notice that. Unless it's a true Corvette guy would maybe notice that right away. Yeah. So it's Friday today, and I believe it's April the 11th. Yes, April the 11th, and it's still got enough room to, or still got enough light, where it hasn't put me into the night vision mode. Yep, people out driving their parents around. Farmer. Same his plate. Farmer. Okay. It's good to know. Yeah, so with the metal rims, you gotta keep polishing them. Like you gotta, you know, if you use a high speed buffer, you know what I mean, it sure makes a difference. You know, the type of cloth that you use, you know what I mean, makes a difference as well. You know what I mean? Like just different fabrics and stuff. It's amazing. Like just a pure cotton cloth. The difference that it makes, like when you're polishing fast, you know what I mean? It just wakes everything up. You know, the shine comes out. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yep, look at all the bikes driving. Wow. I'll be pulling my bikes out soon, and you know, so it'll be a little bit less car driving, but you know, more bike riding. I can spend time with my beautiful wife. You know, she likes going on bike rides too. She likes coming on car rides. And like I mentioned before, if anybody's ever watched one of my car videos, she prefers when it's more like today. Like she worked today, and you know, we had supper sort of kind of ready. What the hell's with the what the hell they're doing here? I don't know what they're cleaning that or a blower and blowing all the dust in the air. Holy shit! Don't you know a guy's gotta breathe that shit, man? It is what it is, right? What can I say, you know? Sometimes people say I'm hard to deal with. I don't know. Believe it or not, I've been told by a million people that I'm intimidating. And that's by people that, you know, I've worked with, people that I've worked for me, or... Yeah. So it just, I don't know, when I was younger, I was a little bit, I don't know, nothing slid by me, man, you know, and I was kind of like you know what I mean? I called a spade, you know, and I never fucked around and never mixed around with that. If you're a spade, you're a spade, simple as that. this is the story. That's the story, right? I don't want to hear a different version, right? I want to hear the correct version, not just a bunch of versions from separate guys, right? Keep making any kind of a mark in the car. Yep, so get out and drive the vet, you know. We waited for 5 months if you're, you know, a Canadian, you know, I know in the States, you know, you guys get snow in the odd state a little bit. Some states have gotten some snow where they've never seen any snow. That's because the world is all fucked up, eh? The world is all fucked up and, you know, tornadoes everywhere. I heard today about a helicopter crash where a family was in New York. Something happened with the rotors. The mom and dad, I think a son and 2 daughters. Just a tragedy, you know, just a tragedy. You know what I mean? That helicopter just went down, spinning, crashed in some kind of water, I think. I don't know if it crashed in water or somewhere in New York anyway. I think I heard it crashed in water, but you know, that feels sad for those people, you know, and my heart goes out to the families of those people, you know. I hope they're, you know, in a better place now, but young children like that, you know what I mean? And even the parents too, you know what I mean? There's your life taken away from you just like that. You don't even just in a situation like that, you know what I mean? It's just everything seems normal and all of a sudden, bang, everything's not normal for the course of, you know, 8-10 seconds or however long it is. And then it's, you know, and then you're in the place you were when the dinosaurs walked the earth, right? Yes. Tragedy. Anyway, it's I don't even know what time it is here. I'm sure the time is on the screen. Looks like it's 10 to 8. So yeah, we still got some dusk. So we don't have a whole lot of color that's going on there, because it just, when you get to this kind of point of day, it's more or less just kind of like, yeah. But anyway, all is well. So what the next thing that I'm going to figure out is how difficult. It shouldn't be that difficult. Just to make like, if I stop the video, let's say if I have to go, you know, go bathroom, or if I have to, whatever, get out, take a cup of coffee, or whatever, I gotta stop the video and then start all over again. Because of these cameras, what I'm operating right now, is they work in chapters. They record chapters, 3-minute chapters. Each angle, front angle, is a 3-minute chapter, and then it goes for another 3-minute, and another 3-minute. So in the course of an hour, it'll do, you know, divide 60 minutes by 3, so whatever, you get 20 chapters or whatever. And it'll do that for the cab as well. And it'll do that for the rear picture. I see the rear picture is looking a little bit darker. And the cab picture is still looking fairly light. And your little U-ball here. Maybe once we get to A&W, we'll just stop there and I can call my wife and see how she's making out on this day. Yeah, my headlights are, they're lined up really nice. And they're easy to line up, right? Just a couple screws and bang, you're right there. But I didn't have anything bright to shine it on, right? I just had like a toolbox and some kind of a door or whatever. So it's really hard to defer. It's a little bit better if you're have a little bit more distance. Like if you're out on a highway or something, just get out and then it'll adjust so you can see, without having a car slam into the back of you. Would be kind of neat. So that is just right, just perfect. This trip meter, shows like 150 kilometers. So it ended about 7. So about 850 kilometers I've driven in this car in the last, maybe 12 days. When did I get it up? Beginning of June, or at the beginning of April, or last day of March, or something like that. And yeah, it's been cold. Tonight is the nicest night. I'm actually sitting in my car with just a t-shirt on, which is nice. Still have to deal with my heater core issue because I don't have heat in the car. I have to flush my heater core. I think that will solve the issue. If that's not the problem, then it's either a head gasket or I need a new heater core. But I don't know that much about like engines and stuff like that to say to myself, okay, if you got a blown head gasket, does the car run as perfect as it does? Like this car runs really, really good. Even with like a high mileage, C4, like it's done the test of time, right? And you just keep, doing whatever that has to be done, just like regular maintenance in a car. Not so much like can I use this as a daily driver and stuff. I don't think I'd want to use this as a daily driver because I don't want to be driving this in the dust. And nice skank of bikes over there, or bikes or something or whatever that was. It's nice. You have a nice little party of bikes like that going. We used to do that when we were younger. Pull off to the side here and I'm just going to run into to do a quick little Mother Nature is calling me, right? So I gotta keep up to Mother Nature and make sure I plant my tree, if you know what I'm saying. I gotta plant my tree. Come up to our local A&W, otherwise known as the Dub back in the day. I'll meet you at the Dub. Me and my wife used to hang out at the Dub. Go out and hang out at the Dub. Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll hang out at the A&W here. Yeah, just take a little time. Well, okay. And just back up there. Actually, I'm going to do this here. Not exactly a backup camera, the way backup cameras work, but by the source, it works. So, okay. Well, I went to the bathroom. I got my first A&W drink of the year. I got my window down. So this is more or less just to see how the 1080p is working on all three cameras. So that's what we're doing. Go for just a short little cruise and then headed home and see my baby. these paper straws that you get nowadays. They suck the biggest wag that there is, man. Just brutal. It's soggy. I'll stick to my coffee. Looks like we got some police up ahead. I just passed another patrol car. I guess it's a Friday night, so there's going to be more people out driving tonight, right? Normal. Everybody on their cell phones, eh? That's what everybody does. Everybody's on their cell phones. Cops around. Holy shit. I don't know why this guy's taking up 2.5 lanes.